And so I think, if we're familiar with accounting, you've got the one set that's the true set you look at, that's your real bookkeeping, and then there are the other sets of books you use to show the tax authorities. And then there is also, if you're a black market participant, then you would never want to compare the different sets of books, because they would be inconsistent, because there's a possibility to underreport and so forth to minimize taxes beyond what is even objectively possible within the rules that they establish for what's taxable and what goes into certain categories.
Slump and Fickens got a comment about trying to find the relevant parts of bookkeeping. You say the teaching company was a good source. I had to take 3-4 runs at accounting before I could finally have the stomach to get through the books and throw away the 90% that was useless and try and find the meat of it in there that taught you how to actually manage a business and measure it and monitor it. For my son, I ended up writing like 3 pages of, this. These are assets, and this is cash flow, and this is how they fit together. Ignore everything else you hear about accounting.
Well, I'm looking on the Teach12 website right now, and it looks like they've discontinued that excellent. Darn it.
So I wonder if the Khan Academy has something comparable, or maybe even better, because the Teaching Company, the Khan Academy, and there are probably a few courses that you can find for free online at YouTube and other places, maybe even Apple University. You should be able to find lots of free, very good quality information about whatever it is that you're looking for. But honestly, I think you don't even have to think of it in terms of specifically agorist. All this stuff is basic stuff. The relation that you have with your customers, the personability that you have with other people, the ideas, the books like Sam Smiles, the Thrift. All these are simply basic things, and they'll be applicable to every business that you have, no matter what their basis is. And so it's just like chemistry. You simply learn the basic building blocks of these things, how they interact with one another, oxidations, etc. And then you can do chemistry to produce different products. And this is what this stuff is. So you got to have these basics. Yes, I agree.
And of course,
and I've...
go ahead, Gil. Finish that up.
Oh, I was just going to say, I've employed a bookkeeper. I've employed an accountant. It's... these are things that you don't even necessarily have to learn from books. You can go ask a bookkeeper. You can go say, "Hey, I'm going to set up a little business," and they don't really care. They'll give you the basics, and there are some certain workbooks you can get that help with certain types of businesses. So there you go.
Yeah, I think that's it.
The other half of needing information to start your business is, of course, if there's these needs out there, it's an opportunity for somebody that does understand the important part of accounting to provide that service. Something that was useful for me and that I guess helped me understand the real guerrilla accounting for running a small business was there was an accountant in South Africa that just used to run 1 or 2 day seminars with a lunch in between at a local hotel, and he'd send out fact shots in those days every 3 or 6 months saying a seminar on how to maximize your cash flow. People would come and he'd generate some revenue for the day and maybe pick up 1 or 2 clients with a tough question. I think he gave.
Did we get cut off?
Sorry, you're asking if Gil got cut off?
No, you got cut out. So I didn't hear the last part that you were saying, but no, you're back again. Obviously.
Oh, okay, good. No, I was saying that this accountant who was focused on helping people manage their companies, he would give 1 or 2 day seminars on a range of different topics. he did it in with fact shots those days, but it'd be great for Facebook just to put out, hey, I'm giving a seminar at this and this hotel for 2 days. Come get lunch, learn how to maximize your cash flow, learn how to pass on your family business to your children without suffering from tax. Figure out how to manage your stock effectively.
Right. Yeah, and those types of things are available. I myself went to there was a guy who offered a free seminar on starting your own business, and his hook was, it was a 4-hour seminar talking about how to start your own business, but he was also selling a whole set of books on, this is a little bit pre-internet, early internet days, maybe around 2000, and so he would sell this big photocopied set of paper in binders plus some cassette tapes, and I ended up buying it as a very good series there. The other thing that I would mention, and maybe this is just kind of obvious, or maybe it's not obvious, and that is I've learned a ton of business working as an employee. I mean, as I've worked, I've taken every opportunity I can to, we're working on an international contract. Okay, I'm going to learn all about that. I'm going to learn how letters of credit work. I'm going to learn how, what does this clause mean? Okay, I'm going to go buy a book on contract law. And, just being and then watching my managers work, and now I work in a small startup, and I work directly for the guy who's the founder, and watching an entrepreneur work up close and seeing how he works and how he makes decisions and what's relevant, and there's a lot of on the job type learning you can do just while you're still a wage slave, right?
Wage slavery. One day it shall all come to an end.
That's right.
Pretty well. It's up to 25% over at the moment.
So something I wanted to ask you specifically, Gil, because it only semi-relates, but when you were first getting into your specific area of research, what was it that you read that really drove you, said, yes, this is what I wanted to read? Was it reading Rothbard, or reading Benson, or reading Bell, or reading what was it that really got you?
Oh man, I'm not really sure, but I think Market for Liberty had a lot to do with it. But I think it was the combination of reading something like Market for Liberty, which is really radical and strong and plausible, and then reading right behind it something like Benson, which is just filled with minutia of facts, and realizing that, wow, there really is something to this. But, nobody was really doing anything. And like I said, I was involved in my community and so forth, and I looked around and, there's a dispute resolution center in my county. So, I went there and I said, hey, what do you guys do? Oh, we mediate disputes. We get volunteer mediators, just come, and I paid my money to be trained as a mediator over a weekend conference, and then I started mediating disputes there. And there are lots of things you can do, while you're still an employee, or at any time really, to build the skills that you need to understand and build out the business model. It's hard to say, it's a confluence of events, but I do remember when I became an anarchist, and that was while I was reading The Ethics of Liberty by Rothbard. So there you have it.
Yes, it seems like it often starts with Rothbard. The book usually starts with Ayn Rand, but I found that it often starts with Rothbard.
Or it ends with Rothbard.
Yeah. Or it ends with Rothbard. It goes to Kant nowadays. It goes right to Kant.
Well, and I mean, the conversation going on in the sidebar in the chat room is pretty much the sort of thing that I had hoped we could do with the AnCap Entrepreneur Network, is people there are talking about what they need to do in terms of accounting, what resources there are, and starting to put together business plans for coding accounting systems. If other accounting skilled entrepreneurs are in the network, then they can say, hey, well, if you're doing that, I can start giving the seminars, and I can give them to the other business people that want to manage their books for their own benefit and not for a ruler's benefit. And we can start to fill in these gaps in between where, for one person to say, well, I need a secure communication system, and I need a sensible accounting system, and I need to find medical services, and I need to have a contract with somebody for purchasing something on credit, and I need to make sure that's mediated if there's a dispute. These are all the sort of things that we can start to understand the needs that we've each got for dealing without aggression, and then start figuring out ways to fill those.
Right, and as Peter Klein was saying, there are some, there are a ton of entrepreneurship resources out there. My own experience is that most of the entrepreneurship resources